Welcome inside the Blue Streaks halftime show on Rock Entertainment Sports Network. My name is Brendan Kant, and it is my pleasure to be joined alongside Coach Joe Raut, the head men's lacrosse coach here at John Carroll University. Joe, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Brendan. First time on, excited to go.
Absolutely, this will be a blast. So first we can ask you, obviously as we're getting closer and closer to that game number one, how's the spring going?
So far so good. So we just got back last week to start, so not too deep into spring so far, but asked the guys to come back in shape. They came back in shape, which is good. You can tell some guys got a little bit stronger in the weight room over that month-long break, so that's huge. And then energy level's been great at practice. We have a scrimmage this weekend, so just excited to kind of get underway here. But so far the guys have brought the right mentality to practice, and we're excited to get going.
Very nice. Has to be so cool to see that progression from the fall into now into the spring when we get closer to that first game. What are you most excited for in this upcoming season?
I think just the opportunity daily to get better with these guys. We had a tough year last year. We bring back most of the same team, so I think just trying to see that daily improvement. We're trying to focus on getting 1% better every day. It's kind of cliche, but just taking it day by day and getting better. That we're excited to compete in this new conference and just continuously get better. Whether it's stick skills, condition, strength in the weight room, lax IQ, you name it, we just want to get 1% better every single day.
You just touched on it, the transition to the new program. ASU Sports obviously in their first year in the North Coast Athletic Conference, and now for lacrosse you guys are going to be next and playing those new conference games. What's the mentality going into the NCAC having totally new opponents? So
we play a lot of them out of conference in the past, so it's nice to have a little bit of familiarity there, but we understand and know that it's a step up in a way, a deeper conference and more tradition. They've been around a little bit longer. A lot of respect for those teams. You look at Ohio Wesleyan won it last year. We've played them, a good amount of times over the last 5 years or so. Denison's always right there, and these are programs that have been around for a long time. So a lot of respect we have for that conference, but I think for us it's time to raise our level. We've had success in our past conference, but what can we do now? And I think with the results that we had last year, honestly, probably our worst year in program history, record-wise at least, that our guys are hungry to kind of, surprise some people this year and show that, maybe last year some of our scores against those teams weren't that great. Our scores against OAC teams weren't that great. And I think, again, we bring back like 97% of our scoring, that our guys are ready for the new challenge, and we're excited to have the first whistle go February 21st to start the season.
Certainly sounds like the right mentality to have. You mentioned returning that 97% of your scoring. Obviously, this is a team that has a lot of senior leadership. Who are going to be those leaders on and off the field?
So, our two captains are Cam Uchik and Nick Yema. They've been guys that have played and been impact players since their freshman year. So they're our kind of leadership group, if you would, at that height. But I think for us, really, we ask everyone to be a leader. I don't think it's out of the norm if you showed up to practice that you could see a freshman kind of giving it to a junior or a senior because they missed an assignment or, ran a drill wrong. We try to, everyone's a leader. Everyone can speak. It's not fair to just have 2, 3, 4 captains have to just run 45 guys. Everyone needs to be accountable. So, on the field and off the field, we ask everybody to kind of pick up some of that leadership. But again, guys like Cam Uchik, Nick Yema, Josh Lombardo, Billy Palladino, Brody Forrest, like these are all guys that have played, almost every game since they've been on campus. Nick and Cam kind of leading the charge. I don't think you would, you look up John Carroll lacrosse player in the dictionary, like it's those two guys.
That's awesome. It can be said across the board in terms of athletics here that every player has that mix of leadership, but also in the classroom and being a true man of Carroll. That certainly sounds like the type of leadership you have with the lacrosse team. Getting into this upcoming season, what are some particular goals you have for 2026?
Let's be peaking in May, right? Let's be playing in May because that's what it's for, right? You can be playing great lacrosse in February and March, but if you're not peaking at the right time come conference tournament time, then what's the point? So for us, let's continue to get better. Obviously we want to win the conference. We want to make the NCAA tournament, but there's a long way to go till you get there. Last year we had some injuries derail things, right? And kind of good on goals per se, exact goals, but we want to be playing in May and playing our best lacrosse.
Nice. I love that. And you talk about playing deep into May, and a big part of that, too, is going to be coaching for you. How important is for you as a coach to maintain a healthy bond with your players?
Probably the most important part in my mind for my job, right, is you need these guys to want to be playing for you and for each other, right? So you need them to, have full buy-in together, but then again, want to show up to practice, want to continue to get better because, and belief, in your coaches. So I think, for us, if we show belief in them, which I think we do daily, we try to, have bonds outside of lacrosse. I don't want these guys just to see me or the staff for 2 hours at practice, and that's our relationship, is just I see coach at practice and that's it. So, I mean, we're going to ask them to do really hard things. They need to know that we're doing them, off the field, and be, would be willing to do it for them too. So you need to ask these guys to put it all in. So, I don't think you can do that if you don't have a great bond. And, we're lucky as a staff that we fall on the younger side. I think I can still say that for another year or so. But, you need guys, we kind of joke about it occasionally, but you need foxhole guys. Mm-hmm. And you don't get that as a leader if you're not, they don't see that you're fully bought into them, and not just lacrosse wise, but development on and off the field too.
Totally. Now switching to your experience at JCU, what is your favorite part of being a coach here at John Carroll University?
The easy answer, right, is the people at John Carroll, which is totally true, from administration to people across campus and academics. Everyone truly does care about you here. For me, selfishly though, it is seeing my guys every day. Seeing kids develop from 18 or 17 as a freshman to, I don't know, a couple months in, you're I don't know if this guy's going to make it.
Yeah.
And then you see them become Dean's List student athletes and walk across the stage as a senior and in 4 years, all of that sort of that development of the person is definitely the most rewarding part of coaching. Wins and losses are awesome and come and go, and you can talk stories about that, at alumni weekend and such. But I think the best part is seeing how the school and hopefully our program kind of together, help these student athletes grow from boys to men. And I think parents see it. Occasionally, I'll get the note, after winter break their freshman year, even after 4 months, I can see a change, or even just by the time they graduate, parents of the student athletes just I can't believe how much this my son matured and grew. And those are the parts I think that are the best part about coaching here is, and it's easy because the school attracts good people, but that's the best part.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks, Brian.
It was so awesome to have you on here. Said so many great, insightful things. But that'll do it for us here on JCU Sports and Rock Entertainment Sports Network for this edition of this halftime show. Second half action coming up next on The Rock.